United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next on the agenda is approval of the agenda.
I would move that we accept the agenda as written.
I'll second.
Motion is second to approve the agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Public comment. Anyone? Seeing no public comment, we will move on. Teaching and learning. There. Business operations report.
Wait, we're moving right along.
We are just running right to you.
So if you don't have any questions on your monthly status reports that were sent, we'll move right into the year-end closeout report. Anybody have questions? No? Okay. So, our annual year-end process, our fiscal year runs September through August. And then we do the closeout when all of our revenues and expenditures have been completed for the year. Due to the ESD for review on October 25th. This year it was the 26th because of the way the dates fell. They do a review and then it's sent off to OSPI where they also put it under a review. And once that is approved, then that will be shared on the district website as well as the OSPI website. But as of, actually I didn't check it today, as of yesterday, they had not been fully approved by OSPI. So we're still waiting on that. General fund, our ending fund balance was $1,354,112.17, which is a $253,000 increase from our beginning fund balance. Within those funds is some carryover funds. Whoops, that should say 15-16 budget. Carryover to 15-16 budget, $92,015. And those areas are state special ed, our lab program, and CTE. So if we look at that, just a little bit in a different way, there's the fund balance broken out. Our restricted fund balance, that $137,850, that's made up of that carryover funds that I just spoke about, and also our non-voted debt payment that we transfer from the general fund to the debt service fund to pay for those energy efficiency loans that we took out a few years back. So that's the restricted fund balance. Our fund balance policy, which is the 6% of the expenditure figure, and then which leaves us an unassigned fund balance of $437,798.70. So if we look at expenditures from what was budgeted, you do remember that we did that budget extension at the August meeting to increase our capacity, but we were under the budget expenditures about $216,000. Sorry, I don't feel very well tonight, so bear with me. Expenditures by program, we have our regular instruction, which is all basic ed, which is all your basic ed classroom teachers and support staff. Our special education, I'm not going to read the numbers because you guys can read those, and we'll put this on the website too after tonight. But our career and tech ed, which is all of our CTE, vocational type programs, the compensatory programs, which are Title I, Title II, LAP, and ELL. Other instruction would be our traffic safety, our professional development grant that we get from the federal government. And then we had some math and science carryover funds that were used there too. Support services, another pretty good portion of the budget, which is all the food service, transportation, maintenance cost, district-wide support, which would be everything in this office as well. And then capital outlay, which were the two vans that we purchased for the motor pool. So total expenditures, $12,977,958.01.
Does that include the field, or is that a separate?
No.
separate-
Field came out of capital project.
Right.
So, and I didn't break out the capital project fund because all that happened this year and that was the deal. So I just will look at the ending fund balance there in a minute. So if we look at the expenditures by an object summary, you can see where we spent the money on. Certificated salaries would be all the teachers and anyone else that has a certificate, administrators, counselors, librarians, those types of things. Classified salaries is everybody else. And then the benefits, supplies and materials, those purchase services, again, travel and capital outlay for the same total, with the salaries and benefits just being noted as about 81, almost 82% of our total expenditures. And looking at revenues, our budgeted revenues were 13,302,571, and then what we actually received was 13,377,408. So over budget by almost 75,000 on the revenues. And then you can see that we are our expenditures under our revenue sources 253,614.84. So the other financing sources there are the $100,000 that we transferred for the field turf to the capital project fund, and then the $45,835.22 is again that the money that we transferred to debt service for that loan payment for the energy efficiency. And then we just look at the other district funds, our ASB fund, and these are all ending fund balances as of August 31st, 119,856, that debt service fund, which is the fund that we use to pay our bond payments, 668,110, the capital project fund at 52,713.39, which is not turf fund money, but money that's set aside for some, Dan, help me remember what that was, the beacon soccer, Greg, what's that? Fascia, I can never think of that word. That was a not a warranty issue, but
Rebate.
similar.
It was starting to delaminate, so they just said.
They said, here's some money, and so we've got that set in there in case we have some issues that need to be taken care of at Beacon. Transportation vehicle fund is at 124,23,76, which a majority of that was spent then in October to make that that bus lease payment that we had due. So there's considerably less money in there now as of today. So you'll see that on your reports. That is all I have.
Questions for Sheila? Okay, thanks Sheila.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
What's that?
No, thank you.
Year-end closeout fiscal 196.
That's it.
That was it? Well, that's the same.
Oh, sorry, Steve,
Well,
I will tell you, if you want the, a copy of the document that comes from OSBI, the full F-196 document, I'd be happy to provide that to anybody that wants it. But it will be on the OSBI website probably in January, but I'd be happy to copy it for anybody, it's just quite lengthy.
Moving on to the consent agenda.
I would make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as written. I'll second.
Motion is second to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to the personnel report.
Motion that we accept the personnel report, the hirings as listed here. Second.
Motion is second to approve the personnel report. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to business and action items. 9A, re-levy of lost revenue.
So you've got the documents that I sent out. If you remember, we did this last year. It's the bond, 2 bonds and a levy. And we didn't collect the money that we were capable of collecting. We just just because of defaults or some other things. So we have the opportunity to do one of three things: do nothing. I might remove the third thing, but go out and get the money back, re-levy the money. I guess it's the big thing. Do we want to re-levy it, or do we want to say no? We just collect what we collect and not burden the taxpayer anymore, which is what we've done in the past.
And again, with the re-levy, it's just distributed throughout the tax base. It doesn't go after any particular properties that didn't pay or something, is that right?
What's the process for that? I mean, is it just
We've never done it, so
okay?
I don't know. I think what the remaining dollar amount would just be spread out amongst the taxpayers, and so you'd see a slight rise in your school district tax.
Okay, we wouldn't obviously get the money then until the next tax assessment, right? I mean, there's no way to get it ahead of time.
Right.
Until they recover it from the taxpayers.
I would move that we don't re-levy.
Yeah, it's like that.
Got a motion and a second to not re-levy. Any more discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. The next four items appear to be field turf donations. We can throw those all in together.
I'll motion to accept the field trip donations.
Second?
Motion and second to accept the field turf donations. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Actually,
There is one that will be on next month.
okay. Item F, surplus.
So with surplus in the past, we've sort of surplused it at different times, and we've occasionally had a surplus sale. We have decided that that's not the most efficient way to do it, so we're working to use the state surplus system where we will take our stuff up to Tumwater. They will deal with it, and we can do that on a as needed basis, with the exception of some bigger items that were on the sheet. The scoreboard from out there, an auger, some side-by-side freezer refrigerator. So those are the things that we're asking for you to approve on tonight's surplus. Beyond this, you probably you'll see the surplus list on a less frequent basis. Well, maybe you won't. Maybe you'll see it on a more frequent basis, but you'll know that it's going up to 10 miles to state surplus. Cindy's in the process of getting that finalized, and we're fairly close.
Yeah. I'm waiting to hear back. Yeah.
So when it goes up there, is it like a percentage or something that, like a consignment kind of deal?
I think so. I'm not positive yet, but it made it sound like things over $200 is kind of what it made it sound like on the sheet. I don't know. I can get the paperwork.
So there's a lot of stuff up there that's not worth anything, like some man uniforms from 19.
So that we
It's up there.
have.
No, but we've been up there.
Oh, Frank
Myers.
I got
Thing.
Yeah, you couldn't use those or something? Frank, I mean.
Maybe a trade for a scoreboard or something.
Yeah,
Just ideas.
gotcha.
I was afraid to touch them.
So you just go, it's like thrift shop, you just go.
Well, we went up looking, we got these chairs up there. Oh,
Yeah, we buy things up there periodically, like desks and file cabinets and.
Yep, just bought some desks.
cool. Yeah, when did we get those student desks for at the beginning of the year? $2 a piece?
$2 a piece, and I just bought 30 more for $2 a piece.
Pretty much, I don't think we're gonna get. I mean,
Well, we're not. yeah,
So,
we're gonna
so
make
that's
it-
for the stuff, that's for the little stuff. This stuff though, you're gonna.
Well, put it out for sale. Just put it out. You interested in a scoreboard?
Okay, put it in my backyard.
Yeah, are you interested in that metal lathe?
Pottery mill.
Side-by-side freezer refrigerator this program?
Does it work? No, it doesn't work.
There's a jukebox. Is the jukebox on here?
The jukebox is out back of it.
Oh, we haven't surplus that yet.
We have a jukebox.
Yeah.
We're part of that.
Does it run on dimes?
No, it doesn't.
You put in a dime,
Bitcoin.
the jukebox?
That's why it's
Baby, no?
Okay. Anybody entertain a motion on that?
I'll motion
To,
to approve the surplus.
got a motion to approve the surplus?
Second.
And a second, any more discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to item G, levy resolution 411.13.
So hopefully everyone got that yesterday, chance to look at it.
There's a separate email, right?
It was last night about,
In the afternoon.
yeah, well, that's what I figured last night. Anyway, I wanted you to have the resolution so you could see the language. We did put a number in there, which is one of the, 4, I guess, examples that we have. So those numbers are not set in stone, but I wanted you to see the wording, make sure that
There.
that's it, yeah.
I didn't see it.
And then we need to discuss sort of where we left off last week with the study session and where we go with the levy, because we have to adopt this resolution tonight.
So just to kind of bring, I guess, everybody up to speed that wasn't here. So we did have a levy meeting last week that we met to discuss the levy and different options, things. So there's two main components of our conversation. The one was whether to run a 2-year or a 4-year levy, and the other component was how much we wanted to ask for and levy funds from the taxpayers. And what I would say is, I think the one agreement that we all had was we're not going to increase the amount of money that we're asking for from the tax base. And that's about as far as I could go. There was discussion around whether to do a 2 or 4-year levy, and there was discussion about whether to leave the amount the same as what we've been asking for before, with the idea that we could increase services within the district with some added funding that we've received from the state, or whether we should lower the request some amount with the idea that we still maybe could add a little bit of services, but more just kind of keep the status quo. So
I think we had I think Dickie suggested one that would minus us out the balance of what would be getting slightly lower than last year or the last levy. I forget what the amount was, at 400? Or,
I threw out an option, I think it was 200 last.
200,000, which is the difference between what we got right from the state and what.
well, actually, the difference in what we got from the state and what is more like 400. But the other side of that is
we were gonna.
the negotiated contract increase is about 240-ish.
230, 32, I think.
That's somewhat 240-ish.
So I have a
Yeah, you're right. It's an issue.
question about that. So the 230, 240 that we were talking about, is that the cost of living increases for everybody, or is it just the cost of living increases for those people that aren't part of the state-funded positions?
You want me to answer?
Sure.
Okay. It's not, it's the cost outside of those COLA increases that we have other contracts that are in place that are attached to that base. So it's the responsibility days and the increased days that are before school
The federal employees?
And it applied to everybody then, pretty much.
to all the teachers. And then the coaches contract, the increase that was there, it's also tied to the base, and then all the advisor positions. So those aren't funded by the state at all. So that's an increase, which will continue to increase as the state-based increases with the COLA increases that are coming.
Good, thank you.
For me, I have a couple, are you gonna?
Yeah.
A couple of thoughts on it that are kind of conflicting with each other actually, but the way I've analyzed it, when you've got inflation, it just expenses of things go up. And so the idea of if we were to cut it at all, or even keeping it the same over a number of years, that will reduce our fund balance probably. It just, as costs go up for things. And so we need to go in with our eyes open, knowing that there will be things we couldn't do that we would have done, or at least could have done. And so that just has to be weighed in the equation. On the other side of it is the idea that we've got more money. As the transition comes more from the state, less from local levy, which I like that overall idea. I like to see us becoming less dependent on the local levy, and part of that would be drawing down what we pull from the levy as the state comes up. So that's kind of the other side of it. And as we get more money from the state, I would like to see the shareholders, so to speak, benefit too. Ideally, where we see everybody in the school district getting a raise, which is good and they deserve. I would like to see the shareholders get dividends or a raise or something where they see a little bit less from their levy taxes as more comes in from the state. That to me is a nice thing, where everybody is benefiting from more coming from the state. At the same time, we have to keep in mind that if we do this, we're consciously saying there's something we're not going to do as a district, or we're going to have to make some form of cuts in the future, or see our fund balance perhaps decrease a little bit, and so it's a give and take. And that has to, I mean, that's a part of the equation. That's what we have to weigh. I think that the voters are pretty much going to approve whatever we throw out there. The Maui voters have been very supportive, and I think they will continue to be, especially with the options that we're considering at this point. They're gonna approve it, whatever it is. Ideally, I would like to see some of this benefit flow through to the taxpayers, not just to the people who work at the school district. That seems like a fair and equitable way to do it, if you see what I'm saying. At the same time, if we do that, we have to know that it's going to affect something else. Which do we want more? We have to look in the basket and choose. We can't have it all. And so that's where I am right now, and trying to balance between those two. And I think our options of maybe a very slight decrease or leaving it the same are both reasonable to consider.
I'm more inclined to keeping it the same. I mean, we did receive some funding from the state, but it's not nearly what is needed. I think it's still going to be, as time goes on, I'm not real confident that the legislature is gonna fulfill the promises to fund more. So I'm a little more, I guess, cautious that way. I know there's some uncertainties. We're asking for a 4-year levy. You want to keep on going back to the voters, but with some major things that still kind of need to be decided. Maybe a 2-year levy is advisable. Just because of what's in play regarding funding. Yeah.
This is an interesting discussion, and we had a long discussion on the other day. I'm a little like Caleb. I go back and forth. My original instinct was to think, okay, we're getting more money from the state. We should ask for less from the taxpayers. But the other side of that for me is I think there are things that we can continue to do to improve the district, and things that we have been underfunded from the state, in my opinion, for quite a while. So the ability to continue to get funds, I think, leaves us in a better position, or the same amount of funds gives us a better position because it is an increase because of what we're getting from the state. And I actually disagree a little bit on the 2 and 4 year thing, mainly because I think the likelihood is when we ask for funds every 2 years, realistically, we're going to want to increase. It's just it's like we're asking for something again and again, and I think that's where I think if we keep it the same and we do it for 4 years, and this is a convoluted way, but in a lot of ways we're leaving potentially money on the table. If they lower the levy lid to the extent that we're underneath of it, to the extent that it drops below what we're asking, it's automatically going to come down anyway. So, if we're at, let's say we're at 2.3, and the levy lid drops to 20% or 18% or something, which, will automatically drop down to that level. So I guess my thought is a 4-year. I mean, pragmatically, I like it from just being involved in the levy before. I like the idea of not having to do it for 2 years. But I also think at the same time, you could argue that financially, it's a bit more conservative for the taxpayer because it doesn't allow us to come back and ask for more in 2 years too. So. I think it's up to you.
No, I'm waiting for a motion.
I actually prefer the 4 year as well. The two options to me are either what you seem to like, or a 4 year where it's lower the first 2 years, $200,000 less, and then it comes back up to the third and fourth year. Both of those options have some attraction to me, where I think it's responsible, but still trying to wean us back off of the levy a little bit. And in a sense, doing a 4 year flat, not raising it, kind of does that, because we don't see any increase for 4 years, which I like. And especially with the state, I think the state is going to actually be kicking in more as they go. I think that is a really big focus. I think they probably will be heading that way more and more over the next biennium. But I kind of like the idea of dropping it $200,000 for 2 years, raising it up for years 3 and 4, not having to run up the levy. And as they increase, ultimately, I'd like to see us decrease the levy even more. So now, that's a small amount. Are we able to do even any amount now? If we can't decrease it at all, it'll be hard to decrease it in the future, especially if we have to decrease it more in the future. So I kind of lean toward that, but I'm not totally opposed to the idea of a 4 year flat, just leaving it unchanged.
The only thing I'd say to that is, there's a difference between have to and want to. If we're in a position where we have to, then yeah, we're gonna, the board at that time will have to, you're gonna have to make decisions that are, gonna be impacting on a negative basis. The thing that worries me a little bit, I guess, about 200 is again, the increase that we got from the state is how much exactly?
460.
Oh, okay. So then, I mean, it would be about so basically what we'd be saying is we're going to the next 2 years with the exact same funding level that we've had the last 2.
Because of the increase that we had.
Right. And in which case you are, and like I said, I struggle because that's where I started. But the more I think about it, I'm concerned with. So you're saying that we're not getting any extra for inflationary environment.
Right, and that's the issue is we'd have to continue to manage well. I mean, we will have inflationary rate increases from the state with COLAs and whatnot, but that'll be eaten up by increases to the employees.
Yeah. I mean, and however you look at it, you're correct in saying, I mean, we in theory could get more money from the state, but it isn't enough. I mean, and that's where the 2 year would come back into play. I mean, if you really think we're gonna get significantly more, then I would argue a 2 year makes sense, because then you can, if we got significantly more in the next 2 years, you could always back it off then, or whoever, the board at that time could. But I don't know. I mean, there are certainly unknowns involved. So does anybody? Sounds like the motion needs to come from this end of the table.
You can't throw anything out.
Well, I'm not.
It's not good.
Actually, no. Can I?
I don't know.
I don't think I can.
No, you can't. I'm the lame duck.
So you don't want to do it.
No. You guys have to live with it.
Yeah.
So just I made the recommendation that we go 4 years as the current dollar amount. Because I tend to look at the tax rate in terms of how the community views it. So if we go at the same amount, the tax rate per thousand is actually should drop from where it is now.
It's lower than.
So you're actually, the taxpayers are getting a break, like, as a reduced.
We're still paying the same.
Yes, but I mean, in terms of what the taxes you're paying is gonna be
I
less.
mean, when you're selling the
The cost per
bond,
thousand?
cost per
What
thousand
do you
is
mean?
what people,
Right.
that is the term that people use, which will be lower, but it's still the same.
Cost per thousand goes down. The actual
Dollar
dollar.
amount,
no,
tax
it's
is the same.
Well, not collected. Like for the typical homeowner for their house, they're still paying the same amount.
Correct. It's just the dollar, because your house, let's say your house value is 150,000 and it goes up to 170 to 75, the cost per thousand is less, but it's the same dollar amount. that's coming in.
Total amount you're paying in taxes is still less.
I'll make a motion to approve, is it resolution, 411, 15, 4 years at the amount, stated, 2,317,041.
I have a motion. Anything
All right,
for-
I'll second it.
I got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Now we can really talk about
Yeah.
Oh, we weren't even supposed to talk about
Yeah.
it. Well, we tend to have
a little leeway there.
relaxed. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving 411-15, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to resolution 410. We're going backwards, order. Transfer funds from general fund to debt service.
So again, this is the resolution we pass every year, in order to make that debt payment, for the non-voting debt for those energy efficiency loans. It's, we have a December 1st payment and a June 1st payment, so that covers both. We just have to have a resolution and send it to the county so they can make the transfer.
I'll make a motion to accept resolution 410.15, transfer funds.
I'll second.
Motion second to approve 410.15. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Public comment. Last chance. Kate, superintendent's report.
So the only thing I have is tonight is the last board meeting for Dick and Steve, and Mike is not here.
Mike's was a while ago.
That's true. That night he took all those cookies with him. I just want to thank you guys for the work on the board. There's been some progress made, and I think, Dick, your encouragement and leading the strategic plan is beneficial, and we're gonna continue to work through that. And you guys will be asked to hold us accountable on that, but I think that we're gonna work through that process, and it will be good to go back and put some new goals in. And Steve, thank you for your leadership the last 2 years. Was it 2 years you were the chair?
I don't know, it's going so fast, I can't keep track.
Feels like forever.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, I appreciate what you guys have done, and obviously appreciate Mike. He was on board when I was hired. And so, end of the chapter, and we're starting new, I guess. But appreciate your efforts. That's it.
All right. Caleb,
Okay, I don't have any significant comments. Thanks to those who donated again to the field. It's a very popular field. It's great, and especially with this rain we've been getting, it's really nice to not have a complete mud hole out there, which it would be. So I think the community really likes that field being set up there. And thanks to you two as well for your time on the board. It's been very nice serving with you. Well, best of luck. Whatever comes next, hopefully I'll see you at some point somewhere. Probably will. So, thanks.
Chris?
Yeah, I also wanted to thank Dick and Steve and Mike. I worked with you guys for a year. I really appreciated getting a chance to serve with you guys. Just been doing some good things done this last year, and so yeah, I appreciate your guys' service. And thanks. And I'm looking forward to working with Kelly and Doug and the other board members too. So that's it. Thanks.
Very good. Dick, good luck to Kelly. Welcome aboard. Were you gonna go to WASDA?
I am.
Okay, would it be useful to swear her in at the conclusion of the meeting so that she's an official
I
board
don't think
member?
it necessarily matters.
Okay.
Because there's normally a lot of people that are up there that have just been elected.
Okay.
She's, in terms of her registration, she's listed as a board member.
Okay,
So I think we're fine.
good luck. It's a good meeting.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Let's say thanks. I'd really like to thank the administration and I mean, it is a great district and I've enjoyed being on the board. I think we work well together and I think it shows in the district. I think, you think of the pride of the Montesano schools and you should all, staff, administration, everybody should feel proud of the work that you're doing within the school district. So it's, we talked a little bit during we had a pretty long and sometimes a little bit contentious discussion about the levy and the other day, and the reason for that was, for me at least personally, is because our community feels so strong about the school and supports the school so much. It is our responsibility as a board to kind of ask those questions because we are going to give them support, I believe, and so. And that's a testament to the work that you do in the schools and with the kids, and it shows throughout the community. So thank you for that. I do appreciate working with everybody on the board, and it's been appreciate all you've done, and so it's been good. So enjoy it, have fun. With that, we'll adjourn. Have a good night.